You are live, tuned in to another episode of Free Game Friday.
Yeah.
We got a special guest.
Episode 20.
Episode 20. Is this it?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yep.
You sure? Is that a positive
I was
fact?
just working on
That's a
episode
real
19.
fact? Come on.
Hey, man.
Episode 20, we back. We took a little break, but we here now. And we here with a special guest.
Yeah,
the
man.
LockSmith.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on.
I had to put the battery in your back. I was like, bruh, what's up with them free
he
game
put the
Friday?
battery in me. Man, he pulled up on me today, and we did a lock lift session. Rode around and freestyle. Then we did an interview after. That was really dope. After the interview, I was like, man, I got so many questions about just the era you came up in, pre-streaming and everything. So, man, that's what this Free Game Friday gonna be dedicated to.
Yes, sir. Let's get it, man.
Man, so in the car, you was telling us how back then when your record get played on radio, you had to get a vinyl created for every single time.
Yes.
That's some new shit to us,
You
right?
had to physically get a vinyl record play.
Right.
You had to get an actual record to get played in the clubs, on the radio, whatever. So you had, which was very expensive. Well, it's still expensive now, you know, but you had.
So back then, were you funded by someone in particular, or were y'all indie?
No, so shout out to EA Ski. So EA Ski is a producer.
Yep.
Obviously legendary producer. So EA Ski, we end up making a record with him called What Is It? You know what I mean? And the record, the DJs was feeling it. You know what I mean? They was playing it like, yo, we want to play this record. So Ski, obviously being an OG in the game, was like, look, we got to get this vinyl pressed up. That's the only way we're going to get. So we paid for it out of our own pocket. I want to say the first run, I think it was like 50. It might have been less, but I know it cost about $1,000 or $700. So back then we didn't have nothing. We still working a regular job, but we pieced our money together, got the vinyl. It was probably 30 pieces or something, 50 pieces. But the most expensive thing about the vinyl back then was you had to, once you made the press of it, it was cheaper to get repressed.
Right.
So it was that first initial one is going to be like $500 off top just to create the.
Still today,
that's how it goes. So once we did that one, it was just a white label. You know what I'm saying? Frontline, what is it? And we took it to the DJs, and they start playing that shit in the clubs, and more people start asking for it. The record stores.
So how was you getting paid off of those plays then?
Okay, so you got paid from physical sales, so you could sell those vinyl. So by that time, once the DJs said they liked it and was playing in the clubs, and it started getting mix show spins on the radio. Right. So first you register your song with MediaBase and BDS, but at that time we didn't have money for no BDS account, you know what I mean, or whatever. But MediaBase I believe was free or it was cheap.
Right.
So I remember going in there, you register it, so that way you can see where your record is playing. So you can see like, oh, my stuff got played on, KMEL 6 times this week, or it got played, you know what I'm saying? And another thing is, you could report it too. Like if they didn't catch, it's like, yo, they played my song twice last night, but MediaBase didn't catch it. You could submit it, be like, hey, they played me twice last night, and then they will go back and check it like, oh, we missed it. So that was a way. So obviously, so then you start getting, so those songs, that particular song blew up on radio. So we were getting like 40, 50 spins a week on commercial radio, which was big. I mean, completely independent, beyond independent, like out the trunk, independent.
And who were you doing publishing through then?
ASCAP. So we just registered with ASCAP, just simple.
But were you doing like any admin back then?
I was adminning myself.
Wow.
I'm still admitting myself right now,
no
bro. What are you talking
way.
about? Yeah.
No way.
Bruh.
Because like, ASCAP don't be catching all the royalties.
Yeah.
Like, just all over worldwide and shit. Like, they got the admin companies that do it now.
They do it, yeah.
So back then, it wasn't, you was just doing all the administrative side.
Bruh. We was going on there, create the account, submit everything, you know what I mean? You have to make sure that, but our main revenue from those songs were coming from radio spins. You know what I mean? So we were getting
the play, like the price per spin.
I couldn't tell you that. I don't know.
What was it back then?
I can't remember, but I know we was getting checks.
I think that shit like $6 or something for radio.
We was getting nice checks. I mean, obviously we had to split it between all the writers of the song, but we that's how we did it. And then, but we didn't really start. But most of the money at that time, because the streaming was brand new.
Right.
It was like super new. YouTube was super new. Videos, I mean, you were making videos for BET,
Right.
MTV. That was your hope, your goal. CMC, right? That's what it's called. Remember the little local radio television channel out here? I think it was called. So you were making videos to get played. So we were doing that. I think we shot our first video. We got played on MTV, and the song started propelling. And then we ended up getting a deal. You know what I mean? Through Ryko, Warner Brothers. And then they funded us. They gave us a nice little check, and then we came up with our next song, Bang It. You know what I mean? They was like, we need another radio song. So we came up with another one, and then they distributed that album.
Which one was Bang? When they play that shit
So
in the club?
they
Bang it. Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah.
So that was under Warner.
That was under Ryko Warner. Yep. So that was they gave us a little budget to push it and promote it. And it was a lot. We learned a lot from the first record, What Is It, to Bang It, because What Is It literally was, like I was telling you, that was out the mud. Like literally we pressed those CDs up. I want to say the first run we did 2,000 CDs or 1,000 CDs. We pressed them up. I put them in the back of the truck, kept them in my mom's garage, and we drove around out here to Vallejo. We drove all the way from, I want to say, San Jose to Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
Put them in the stores, and by that time our song is buzzing. So a lot of places would just buy them up front. They was like, look, we need 300 up front. How much you gonna pay? We'll sell them. If they get more than like 200, we'll sell them for like $7 a CD, and then they would sell them, turn around, sell them for $15, $12.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so we would take, we was getting some nice checks, and then we doing shows, in the Bay Area.
Right.
So shows was probably the most.
How was that coming through then? Like the bookings. Did y'all have a booking agency, or were y'all still rocking? Just through the Yahoo Mail, through the AOL.
It was just through the Bay Area. It was MySpace.
MySpace.
It was MySpace.
Yeah, it was a MySpace.
It was through MySpace. Fools would just hit you up like, yo, I want to hit you live. Can y'all come do a show at San Francisco at, Club Base? Or can y'all come to City Nights? You know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever those clubs was at the time. And you would just, and it would be up and down. But eventually, let me stop lying. So when things start popping off more, we did end up getting like little agents or people that would be like, okay, we're gonna book you shows in Vegas, book you shows in LA and stuff like that. And so we start getting that type of stuff.
I hate it here.
Hey, it's real. It's real.
I have a question anyway. You said that the label gave you like a budget to push your second song.
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say budget and to push? Like they weren't doing marketing and stuff for you, or were they getting the CDs pressed for you?
Okay, yeah. So yes to all of that. So they did have a whole. It was a small team, you know what I mean? Because it was, like I said, it was a subsidiary of Warner.
Like a JV.
Yeah. So it was like, they gave us a budget. I forget how much it was. It wasn't.
Who's over Ryko, by the way?
At that time, we were dealing with a gentleman by the name of Neil Levine. So Neil Levine was the guy over there. He actually flew out. Let me tell you a little story. Give you some little bit of game. Our record, see, we skipping steps. Our first frontline record was moving units independently. Like I said, no distribution, nothing. People, but at that time, in order to get like in the big stores, like the Best Buys and the FYEs and Targets, all that kind of stuff, you had to have a distributor. They wouldn't take independent. So we was strictly going through like Amoeba, Rasputin's, small places out here. I forget whatever record they had out here, Fairfield, Sacramento. But people was calling like, the main stores like, yo. So one day I get a call from Violet Brown, who was the head of Universal Music Distribution or something at that time or whatever it was. She was just like, hey, I'm looking for Frontline. I was like, yeah, this is him. I guess she got the number from somebody at the record store and was like, yo, we've been looking for y'all. We need to get y'all record. What's going on with this record? I was like, yeah, she's like, okay. Then she connected us. It's like, I want you to talk to this guy. And then that was Neil Levine, and then he ended up signing us. Said before he signed us, he said, I want to come out and see what y'all doing. So we had our record release show, which is a matter of fact, I want to say we had 2 record releases. We had one in San Francisco, one in 40 used to have a club called the Ambassadors Club in San Jose. So he came to one of those shows and he saw how cracking it was. He's like, yo, y'all got this shit lit out here. So he signed us. Was like, look, we want to do a deal. He gave us some upfront money to help us like remaster, remix the songs, make a couple new songs. And he said, we need another song that's going to really go for radio. And then that's when we came with the Bang It. So, and then they were supposed to do some marketing. And they paid like, I want to say the most of the marketing money, we shot a video, which was like our first video. And they also paid for radio promotions. All the money went into radio promotions, especially back then. Like we going to do everything we can to go into radio promotion. So I want to say majority of the marketing budget went into the radio promotion.
Man. Different. So different. when you
nobody was even talking about digital streams.
Right.
Like it existed,
so
but nobody.
When you moved to the digital landscape, who did you go? Like what distributor?
Gazi was the first person, but it wasn't Empire then. I think he was. It was even before
Ingroove.
It was before Ingroove,
wow.
bro. It was when he was with another company, and then So whatever he was at the very first thing, I think we went through him. I think the Frontline first. Our albums are still. Our second album. So after we did the deal with Ryko, they folded. The label folded, or whatever record label they were over. It folded, and then we did our next album independent, and that's when we went back to the trunk, and digitally we let Gazi distribute it.
What happens when a label folds and you're signed to them?
You call one day and it's just like, oh, they're gone.
What about like
the masters?
Oh, it's still there. It's still through Warner Brothers. Yeah, it's still through Warner. And look, they did some cool things too. They got us like on some movie soundtracks and stuff like that. So you got those little things, and I still get, you still get those publishing checks.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like if they signed you and they gave you money up front, do you have to pay it back, or because the record label that they signed?
Are you still recouping on that?
That's a good question. No. So we do. You know what? I have to go back and look because I still do get little checks. Right. So I guess we in the black now.
Well, yeah, if you getting a check, then you can't get recouped.
They didn't spend that much money.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like the advance back then was probably like, I don't know, $180,000 or something. Like I said, it was a small deal.
Between two.
Yeah, split between when Ski was the production company. So EA Ski was our production company. For those of you who don't know, like when you sign a deal with the label, 99% of the time, they're not going to just pay the artist. They're going to want to go through a production company. So if you are your own production company, great. But if you're not, then that means they're going to pay the production company, and the production company is responsible for distributing the funds to the artists and whoever signed to the company. You know what I mean? So a lot of times when people are signing deals, they're really signing to a production company because the production company has like an infrastructure or something. Somebody they trust the label trusts them. They have a track record. Right. You know. So
what is your experience like with the industry? Is it positive, negative, or?
You know what? I'm just a positive type of person. So I look at everything from a positive. I look at it all as a learning experience, you know? So I've seen, because I've been in it and I've been doing it for a while, I've seen the mistakes that I've made, that other people have made. I've had situations where people have offered me deals and different things. From frontline all the way to solo stuff. I would say like every year I get somebody like, hey, because I have you have a history, you have a track record, you have these things. So people come out, but I've been in the game, so I have a little bit more wisdom to where I just be like, nah, I know where this is going. You know what I mean? Like, I know what this deal really means. Like, I'm not signing for no 7 albums or nothing like that. I'm not saying deals are bad because they're not. If it's the right deal for where you're at, right. You know, if I've seen you talk about that. So yeah,
and that's really like the perspective that initially it's like the bad guys and the things until you realize that a deal is just. The right deal was great.
I mean, we're all in some form of a deal with something. You know what I mean? It's just all about when you start getting into those where people are investing a lot of money in you, you as an artist have to be aware of what you're getting yourself into. Like I've never been in a bad deal. Like I signed a deal with a production company probably about once I started doing my solo stuff, I end up like I'll give you an example. I signed a deal with Dame Dash. You know what I mean? Back in, I want to say 2011.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was working with Ski Beats. I flew out to New York and I was working with Ski Beats, who's he produced Jay-Z's first album.
Yeah,
basically.
legendary.
So I was like, yo, I'm excited. We went out there, we recorded a couple songs. He's like, yo, bro, we got to do a whole project. He played it to Dame. Dame was like, yo, let's do this. So we signed a joint 50-50 deal, you know? I went out there, they recorded everything, and and we did the deal. It was for an album. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? I signed another deal with a production company, and it was a 360 deal. And people are so terrified of 360, but it's about how you do it.
Right.
See, I did it for a certain amount of time. I ended up signing with a production company, and I'll just say it was with a basketball player, Amari Stoudemire, for the New York Knicks. So he was interested in my music, and I flew out to New York. I recorded a whole project in his like penthouse studio.
Right.
It was super dope, and we was like, look, we're gonna do this project. We're gonna see where it takes us. We're gonna do this, and we actually had deals on the table. But me, I understood. I was like, you know what? These deals aren't specifically the best deal. I didn't want to be in this deal and then be locked in another deal where it continues to go, because if I'm signed to this production company and I'm signed to these people and they're signed to another person, now you're like in a 3-4 party deal. And by the time, you just got to be strategic. Now, I'm not saying it can't work for anybody, but for me, I was just like, you know what, where I'm at in my life, I need to get some money now. Right. You know what I mean? So I figured I'll just finish off this deal, and then I'll take it and learn it and take it to the next step.
Man, I recently came to the consensus that like 360 deals aren't like bad. It's like that's actually how people grow companies, right? You give someone a stake in several things that's making revenue. But now I've even learned even more to break that down. Instead of doing a 360 with one company, separate all them things. Separate touring, separate merch, separate music. Yeah. You can go do a touring deal separate. Completely with whoever's great at touring, instead of giving it to one music company.
Absolutely.
Same with merch. You go partner with someone who really does merch and do that deal separately. Then you have your music and whatever ancillaries you build around it. But yeah, 360s is definitely, to build a company, it's smart if you could find the right people.
And I don't regret it, because it got me exposure. It got me into other rooms with other situations to open doors, so I can learn even more.
Right.
So it just all depends on how you utilize it.
It's dope to see you making content. Like, that was one of the joys today, being in the car and like you setting up cameras and you setting up audio. Yeah. You're making content today. What's like what's the push to like still go?
Well, I just love music. I love the art. Right. When I see, like, first of all, I love creating the art. When I see individuals like yourself that are something that I actually like I'm like, yo, I like what he's doing, and I like what I'm hearing. I like how it resonates with me. It motivates me even more. But I just love making music. I'm an artist, Right. I'm also smart enough to handle my business in a way where I'm like, okay, you know what? You said it when we were talking earlier. It's like, look, if you have a talent, if you say you're a rapper, nigga, rap. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, there's really nothing to stop you.
Nothing.
You got to go out there and create it. Like, I was like, okay, we set it up. Boom. It's easy. We go out, we do the lock lift, we create the content, we keep it moving, whether it's in a car, whether it's like you on top of your roof, you create the content, and if it's dope, it's going to resonate with people. And to me, excuse me, one of the things that I thought was dope, and I was telling you this earlier when I came by the pergola, was that when you guys were dropping this game on these free game Fridays, I was like, I had did lock lift before, and it always did well whenever I would repost it on social media. But when you guys were explaining it, it kind of validated something in me that I had questions about. I was like, should I do this shit, or should I be doing this? Because sometimes as artists we have so many ideas. Right. And I was like, well, what should I focus on more? And I was like, well, the algorithm, the people are telling me what to focus on. It already worked. It's already working. Why am I trying to go against that, create it, and focus on it? So I was like, you know what? The next album or the next projects I do, I'm going to just do a lock lift for every song. I'm going to do it in different ways. I'm going to record them. I'm going to create content in different ways. And I'm going to be like, I'm going to invite artists. Why don't I bring artists in and be like, all right, I got these collaborations with all these dope artists that I know. They can do this shit. Why don't I incorporate them? So I was watching the information y'all gave, and I kind of followed it. and my shit start going viral. You know what I mean? I'm looking, I'm like, hey, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, they speaking some real shit. So I start posting. Next thing I know, I'm seeing 500,000, 700,000.
Right.
TikTok. You know, somebody that's been in the game for a minute, I was like, man, this old TikTok
Not
shit.
trying to fuck
And then my
with
other homie, I'm not gonna lie, I gotta get my homie Echo, who's out in Vegas. He's a dope independent artist. His shit was going crazy on TikTok. He was like, bruh, you need to utilize TikTok. I was like, man, I don't know what to post. He's like, bruh.
Nigga, rap.
He's like, post it. She's like, the same shit you doing. You just gotta, you know, format it for TikTok. Just check. So I was like, you know what? That's even more, that gives me more motivation. Like, I'm about to do this LockSmith shit.
Yeah.
And I did it. I mean, TikTok, the algorithm going crazy. The first video I post on there, 2 million views.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm doing all kind of different shit. I was doing the 49er raps.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen that. I basically was just like with a phone in front of my car after every 49er game, because I'm a huge 49er fan. I started doing freestyles about the game, right? Leading up to the next game. That shit starts going viral. I think the last one I did was their last game. It went viral on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, too. And I'm like, then the 49ers hit me. Like, hey, we want you to do the official song for the 2023 season. I'm like, all right. So all these things is coming from doing what you love. Rapping. And just putting it out there.
Hey,
Stop being, you know what I mean?
Ain't it crazy how like you could spend years questioning and wondering like what do I need to, what is it I need to do?
You gotta get out there and do it, bro.
It's like the one thing you do that you love to do, right?
Nigga,
But you have to do it.
And I'm doing the shit. I'm like, man, is this stupid? I'm like, but I'm like, look, nigga, you watching the games anyway. Why not utilize your skill set?
If you have time to consume content, then you have time to make content.
Absolutely.
There's no way you could sit and watch a whole game, but
Facts.
you couldn't make a piece
You couldn't
of
make
content.
up content. Facts.
You was having fun making it. And
Right.
that's why that shit went. Because you was out there and you enjoyed what you were doing and people could feel that through the phone.
And that's, bro, sometimes that shit matters more than the content itself. We had met these people yesterday. They were doing an interview, Central Valley Podcast.
Okay.
And they just had a great spirit. And I was telling them, like, bruh, that's going to be further than any interview you do. Like, people just love you. When that energy is there, like you say, you love the Niners. So that pours out into it. Like, man, when you do what you love to do, that's the
easy.
way.
That's the way.
It becomes easy. You don't have to start thinking. You ain't got to learn how to do the newest dance.
No.
Niggas on
Bro,
there.
see, that's what I was telling niggas, because I be talking to some of my homies, you know, and they be like, man, TikTok, man, I don't want to be doing no dance and shit. I'm like, dude, you ain't got to do that.
You ain't got to dance.
Just do what you do. Figure out what you do. It's the same shit, and people will gravitate. If you love it, somebody else probably love it. So, you know what I mean? Let them come in. They'll come and find you with it.
Are you putting all of this stuff on streaming?
Yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah.
Are you still distroing through Empire?
No. So I work with another company out of New York, Foundation Media. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
I've had a nice little relationship with them. They kind of, help me with certain things. So yeah, it's been easy. Yeah.
Dope. Have you done a distro deal like with them, with Foundation?
Yeah, that's what I'm working with now.
Tight.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I fuck with distro deals.
Yeah. It's
I
easy,
feel like,
and it's non-exclusive. I've done other deals. I did projects with other little record labels. I've done other things separate with other artists.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I think that for every artist, that your basis, before you even go do the big deal, get a distro deal, a non-exclusive, where you could just drop your shit on the side, and that's a great building block. Because you could go do the one-offs, but it's like you always got this. And like the distros are becoming so equipped now in advance that they have the paper to give you, and if they don't, they got the resource to at least get you to the paper. You feel me?
Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah.
Non-exclusive
is the important. Hey,
the game
important.
The game is so diverse now. So many different platforms. People, I mean, they got to understand. Unless they putting serious bread in front of you, then why would you know what I mean, lock yourself down into one thing?
Bro, that was my biggest thing early on, getting offers. And I used to tell my pops all the time, like, bruh, I'm not trying to do 3, 4, 5 albums with nobody. Like, we should be able to start with one. It's kind of interesting how this industry refuses to do one sometimes. They're like, nah, nigga, we need you for the next 10 years of your life.
You've been able to negotiate that one deal, that one album deal every single time.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't want to get married. I just want to go out to lunch.
People should understand that.
Right.
Yeah, they should understand because the game is just different now. It's not like it was even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years. It's like it's different because there's so many ways to release your content, your music. I mean, you could be making music, but then you do something totally different on social media. Like, so all these things are viable to your brand. So labels, they understand that unless they're going to come with a super big bag or a super deal like that, then, artists you better off staying independent, non-exclusive. You can take your music to,
wherever you go.
DistroKid, CD Baby, whatever. Do a distro deal with one of these whatever you want to do.
Have you seen like the major label system change very much since? I mean, because you were in it very early when they were still pressing vinyls to now. Have you seen any like major?
I haven't really dealt with any major labels since probably like 2017, 2018. That was, since then, social media, it's changing every year now. But essentially, I know people who work in the industry. They know, they know how to, I think their marketing and their advertising has had to change because of, people consume music. Like, people are listening to music just on their phone. That's how they discover music, is through social media. Right. It's not through blogs. I mean, SoundCloud maybe a little bit, but people are discovering music through social media. That's the way they word of mouth. So they've had to adjust to that. They know how to use the algorithms. They know how to use the commercials within the sponsored. So they're trying to utilize that. But the shit is changing. I mean, the things that artists are doing is what's setting the pace for everything.
Exactly.
Because they're finding something new every time. Like, we got to do this. We got to do that.
You could always tell when an artist is being free and doing what they want to do, and the label just getting behind them, and then you could tell those artists that the label is like feeding characters to. That's like, try this.
You know what? I think they're gonna do, and this is just stuff that I've kind of heard people say. I think what's gonna happen is the major labels are gonna partner with the platforms, the social media platforms, or the social media platforms are already starting to create their own streaming. You see what I'm saying? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And then they're going to have to compete with that. They're going to have
TikTok
to integrate.
TikTok was actually doing deals, right?
That's what I'm saying.
They created a distribution.
Don't be surprised.
In some ways, they kind of are already partnered. Like, the fact that you can get on TikTok and you can pay to have, like, these big influencers do dances to your songs or just play it in the background or something.
They know how to monetize.
They know how to monetize the screen time with people and how to leverage these large platforms that exist. So it's like, in a way they already are, but they're just using money. And I think that they can't really buy the platform as much as they want to, because the only reason why the platform is powerful is because of the users on it.
They're gonna have. I feel like they're gonna have to cut deals with them, or some kind of deals with them.
The influencers are houses, right? If you can't buy a city, you buy a bunch of real estate, and that's what they do.
Yeah, that's what they've been doing. Yep.
Right.
They don't need the platform.
Yeah, they got the influencers.
Bruh, I've really figured, like, and the labels are, but they know it. Like, when you got the paper, you won. Like just like, people look at my growth and they're like, bro, that shit is so fast. And it's like, that's because I'm exceptional and I've had the paper to put into the ad. When you got it abundantly, bro, if I had a label's budget, I'd be the like, you can't even, the amount of ads I run now is crazy, but it's like, they're able to do 100, 200, 300,000 on one piece.
Well, like, but look, and I'm gonna show you how that worked. So the difference was back then, and they still do it now, they did it with radio. That's how you use it. That's how you break an artist. Like, why is this artist blowing up? Why is this song, like, it may not even be researching well, but if the label put enough money behind it, they will break that artist. It's going to break. Now they do it with social media. Now, you know what I mean? So it's just like, so they got, imagine how much money they got compared to what independent, even the most popping independent artists.
Bro, and that's the thing, like, when you got the paper, you don't even have to be exceptional. You could break anything with the pay because you could give it the exposure. right? And there's enough people in the world to love everything. So if you get it to have enough exposure, you won. Like that's the shit. That's the fucking.
Sometimes I feel like that's what happened to the quality of music. Sure. It was just that they had enough paper to push anything. And it's like you said, there's enough people in the world to like everything. So there's going to be at least a small percentage who's playing it, and now we have.
Do you advertise? Like with LockSmith, do you run ads?
So that's actually something I was going to ask you about. You know what I mean? Because that's one of the things that I've dabbled in it, and I've seen it work a little bit, but I haven't went all the way in on it because a few of the lock lifts, I would say at least 5 or 6 have went viral just organically. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what I was about to ask you. So some of them but there's an art to that fucking ads, dude. How you pay for it? Because one time I did it, like it wasn't a lock lift, it was a freestyle. I had a freestyle that was like from like Sway, you know what I'm saying? And it was just going viral. I'm like, what is this shit? It just hit an algorithm, you know? And it got like damn near 1 million. And then I was like, I'm gonna put some money behind it, but I didn't really see nothing. But then I was talking to my boy. He was like, nah, if you see something going like that, you got to put way more money behind it. If something is already organically getting 500,000, you got to put.
You can't be scared. Right? I just told, we have an artist we've been working with named Tish Hyman. Incredible human. She got a song called Lucky that we've helped break. It's just been going viral. Organically, and I told her, I said, bruh, it's already working. If it got to 2 million, 3 million with $0, you have to pour in. I feel like when you go into some of them ads and you just throw a 10 or 20 trying to see how it goes, sometimes
you're not gonna get nothing.
It's like you're not serious. You feel me? Like
it's not gonna get nothing.
You really you choosing where you want your commercial to play. Yeah. When you put that amount in, it's like where you want your commercial to play. You want it in Rickshaw's Chinese shop, or you want that shit everywhere. So sometimes you gotta go. Once you get the targeting, like Instagram, I love because they already know your demographic and your following. Yeah. So they have an option to just automatically target. I just use that and hammer it in unless I'm promoting a specific thing. But for content, I use that and hammer it in, and it goes every single time. Okay. But yeah, ads.
What about other platforms? Are you utilizing ads on other platforms?
I don't YouTube, but I don't really advertise on any other platform.
Not on TikTok?
But we should because anywhere it's happening.
And I heard it's much cheaper too on TikTok. I heard it's cheaper. It's one of the cheapest ones of all the platforms because they just allow it to go more places.
Right? It's all cheap for the yield you get. Like when you get down to the point where if I can get a fan who's going to spend money with me for the next 10 years in exchange for 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents, I don't care if I paid $1 for that nigga because he buy one t-shirt and I want it back. You feel me? So it's all a worthy spin. You feel me? For marketing. Like any artist out there, you should be advertising your shit. If it's going viral already, it's only going to do better with the paper behind it. Especially if you could find things to connect to.
Let me ask you this. Since we're talking about that, here's another thing I wanted to ask you as far as the ads. If something is growing organically, let's just say it ain't hit 1 million yet, but it's getting like 600,000, 700,000. Have you ever noticed if you put ads behind it, it stops the organic growth, and then it's only the ad, and then
I was just telling her now. I'll let posts go for about a week, and then at the end of each week, I'll go through and see what did well, and then I'll add the ad.
Okay.
I let it go.
So once it already made its organic,
as far as it can organically till it start kind of slowing, and then I hit the ad.
Have you ever seen this? Have you ever had a post? Because I just seen this. This is my first time seeing this. I had a post, a lock lift. And it got like got 2 million, right? And I was like, oh shit, this is crazy, organic. That was like a month ago or so, right? And then like a week ago, it's to hit like another. I ain't put no money behind it. Then it got like another 100,000. It started doing again. I'm just like, it just hit organic. So I'm just like, this might be the time to run an ad or something because it's kind of getting
because that spark could come from like. Sometimes somebody else will post it, and then that spark creates and it leads everybody back. Like when I went viral early, I'd have a moment where I go crazy, it'll start slowing, then Charlamagne will post, and it's like,
and then it turn up again,
right? So yeah, I would allow it to get as much organic as possible, and then run the ad, and then from there just kind of. It's going to keep coming as it should, but definitely I think once you run an ad, it does kind of hinder the organic reach. So yeah, I'll be waiting.
I noticed that. That's the thing I know. So you got to kind of wait and see what it does and then get behind it.
I mean, or you can activate it instantly because I even think the ad reach is as comparable because the ad reach is specific.
Yes.
Right? Like the organic reach, it could be a nigga on the explore page scrolling and he don't even really like his shit, he just went past it.
Yeah,
but the ad reach is people that fit this specific niche.
exactly.
So 10 ad reaches could be better than 1,000 views that came from the explore page who didn't really fuck with you.
That's
them
a good
10
point.
might be buying a t-shirt because they actually
it's
fuck
targeting
with
those people.
It's targeted, right? So it's still worth the same.
That's a good one. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, man, this was a good episode of Free Game, man. We got LockSmith here, episode 20. We had to come back. Please send in your questions, man. We starting this series back up. It's time. Splash behind the camera, Chow behind the camera. LockSmith as our special guest. Me, T, the game, free. Yeah.